Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Let us chant one round of japa with Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshkaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Karini Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktirbhavati Naishtiki Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रीमद् भगवद गीता एज इट इज की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam for all session. Let's recite Bhagavad Gita shloka. Today is Monday, so we recite a new verse. We memorize a new verse. So the last one that we memorized was Bhagavad Gita chapter 14, text 3. So let's see what's the next memorization. 14.3 was the last one. The next one is 14.4. So the last one was Mamayonir Mahad Brahma Tasmin Garbham Dadhamyaham Sambhavah Sarva Bhutanam Tato Bhavati Bharata. The total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate and thus make possible the births of all living beings, O son of Bharata. Text 4 is this week's verse. Please repeat. Sarvayonishu kaunteya murtayah sambhavanti yah tasam brahma mahadionir aham bija pradah pita. Sarvayonishu kaunteya murtayah sambhavanti yah tasam brahma mahadionir aham bija pradah pita. Sarvayonishu kaunteya murtayah sambhavanti yah tasam brahma mahadionir aham bija pradah pita. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. So it should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. So now you can start reciting. So whoever needs to go first, please raise your hand. Aditi Rata Mataji, Arunita.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Sarvayona Shikanteya Murtuya Sambhavantiya Tasam Brahma Mahadyoni Aham Bija Pradapita. Translation. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Sarva yonishu kaunteya murtaya sambhavantiya tasam brahma mahadyonis aham bija pradapita. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Inba, Inia, Jai Shri Mataji, Jai Ganesh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Sarvayonishu kaunteya murtaya sambhavantiya tasam brahma mahadyonir aham bija pradapita. Translation. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father.
Yes. Inia.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Sarvayonishu kaunteya murtaya sambhavantiya tasam brahma mahadyonir aham bija pradapita. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in the material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam all Guru Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Sarvayonishu kaunteya murtaya sambhavantiya tasam brahma mahadyonir aham bija pradapita. Translation of all Guru Srila Prabhupada. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. Jayesh is not available.
Isha,
सर्वयोनिषु कौन्तेय मूर्तयः सम्भवन्ति यः तासां ब्रह्ममहद्योनिरहं बीजप्रदपितः. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father.
Priyanka Haripriya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Sarvayonishu Kaunteya Murtayah Sambhavanti Yaha Tasam Brahma Mahadyonir Aham Bija Pradah Pita. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father.
Yeah. Everyone has recited? I'll recite. Oh, I did already in the beginning. Today is the first day. So let's read Srimad Bhagavatam. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 1, The Advent of Lord Krishna, Introduction. And in that, what did we read so far? First of all, Parikshit Maharaj is speaking. Yes, the chapter started off with Parikshit Maharaj speaking. Parikshit Maharaj said, what did he say? That you have nicely described in detail the Chandravamsa, Suryavamsa, and the wonderful glories of all the kings who appeared in those dynasties. Then you have also described the Yadu dynasty, and in that Yadu dynasty, Lord Vishnu has appeared. That means Krishna. Vishnu means Krishna. In that Yadu dynasty, Krishna, or please describe. So you have also very nicely described the Yadu dynasty, and Yadushcha Dharma Shilasya, the Yadus who are adherent to Dharma. You have nicely described about them also. And in that Yadu dynasty, Tatram Shenaavatirnasya, right? In that Yadu dynasty, the Lord, no, please describe the wonderful activities of the Lord who appeared in the Yadu dynasty. Please describe the wonderful activities of the Lord who appeared in Yadu dynasty, whose Amsha is Lord Vishnu. Or please describe a portion of the wonderful activities of the Lord who appeared in Yadu dynasty. Then, and please describe these activities to me of Bhagavan, who is Bhuta Bhavana, and please describe them in detail. Vistarat. Then, what did he say? He said, why you want to hear the glories of Krishna? Because Nivrittatarshairupagiyamanad Bhavaushadachrotra manobhiramat Kauttama Gunanuvadat Pumsam Virajyeta Vinapa Shubhnat. I want to hear about the glories of Krishna because these glories are very pleasing to the heart, both for the listener as well as for the speaker. For the speaker, even without understanding, without relishing the subject matter, simply by hearing and repeating, one finds it to be so pleasing that he never gets bored. Then what to speak of those like yourself, Sukadeva Goswami, who's actually relishing how much more pleasure you must be deriving by describing the glories. So please go ahead and describe, because it's very pleasing to you. Please describe the activities of Krishna. And for me, for the listeners, anyone who hears these glories, this hearing of Krishna's activities acts as a medicine for the disease of material existence. Bhava Aushadat. So it is Aushadhi, it is medicine for Bhavaroga. And what is the effect that the activities of Krishna have on the speaker and listener? Utka Uttama Shloka Guna, no, not that one. Bhavaushada Shrotra Manobhiramat. Right. So the listener, his ears are completely satisfied, and the speaker, his heart, mana, his heart is completely satisfied. So it's a win-win situation. Only one person will not turn to Krishna Katha. Unless he is a Pashubhna, he will not turn. Unless he is a butcher or a hunter, right? He has no sentiments, fine sentiments, except for him. Who will not hear Krishna's pastimes, which are so wonderful? Who will not speak Krishna's pastimes, who are so wonderful? Then he also said that, again, he's inspiring Sukadeva Goswami to speak, and he said, the pastimes, how Krishna, why I want to hear about Krishna's pastimes is further explained. Because Krishna, my grandfathers, simply by taking shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, they were able to cross over the ocean. It's not possible for anyone to swim across the ocean. But my grandfathers were able to swim across the ocean. What is that ocean? The Kaurava army. They were able to swim across the ocean of Kaurava army by sitting in the port of Krishna's lotus feet. That means by taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, even this ocean of Kaurava army turned into a small puddle in the hoof of a calf's, in the print, footprint or hoof print of a calf. Very small puddle of water, which even a child can cross. So my grandfathers were able to, they were protected in this battle of Kurukshetra simply by taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. So I also want to think of Krishna because he protected my grandfathers. I feel so much gratitude to Krishna for that. I also want to take shelter. I cannot think of anyone else except Krishna at this time. That's one reason. Another reason is he protected me when I was in the womb of my mother. I was actually dead, right? My body was burnt by the Brahmastra of Ashwatthama. But because of my mother's taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet in that difficult time, Krishna, the wielder of Sudarshan Chakra, he appeared in the womb and he protected my body. So I'm indebted to him, right? So he protected me personally. He protected my grandfathers. He is the worshipable deity of my family. Therefore, I simply want to hear about Krishna's activities. Please speak. Not just because I have personal relation with Krishna or, Krishna has personally helped me and my family members. But besides all this, he is the super soul who's present inside and outside of all living entities. He is the Supreme Lord who, whose original form is like a human form. Please describe his Viryani, his wonderful activities. Vistarena, in detail. Please explain in detail. Like this. Then he said, yeah. And after this, now Parikshit Maharaj had questions. He said, and now he came to questions. After he's saying that, please describe Krishna's pastimes. Now he's saying, please tell me why, or you mentioned that Balaram you mentioned Balaram as a son of Rohini. When you were giving the list of the sons of Vasudev through Rohini, you mentioned Balaram. And again, when you listed the sons of Devaki, there also you mentioned Balaram. How is it possible for one person to be born from two mothers? Or how is it possible for one person to have two mothers, to be in the wombs of two mothers, unless he's transferred from one womb to another? Please explain this mystery to me. Then the next question was, why did Krishna leave his father's home, Vasudev's home, and go to Vrindavan? Hmm? And where did he live while he was in Vrindavan? Then the next question was, he lived in Mathura and Vrindavan. So what did he do while he was in Mathura and Vrindavan? What were his activities? And why did he kill his maternal uncle Kamsa? This is not according to scriptures. It is actually against the scriptural injunctions to kill one's own maternal uncle. So, of course, there Srila Prabhupada explained that if the maternal uncle didn't have a son, then the nephew would inherit all the property of the maternal uncle. So therefore, the maternal uncle is as good as one's father. Hmm? So how can one kill the father? How can Shastra allow this? And Krishna is the father of all dharma. How can he break the rules of dharma, the law of dharma? How can he break dharma? Why did he kill his maternal uncle? What was the reason? That was one question. So far 3 questions. Then the next question was, for how many human years? So how many years according to human beings calculation did Krishna live amongst the members of the Vrishni dynasty? Then, for how long did he live in Dwaraka, and how many wives did he marry in Dwaraka? This was another question. And finally, Parikshit Maharaj said, please answer all these questions which I have asked, again in detail. Yes, please answer all these questions and also answer whatever I have not asked. And whatever, because you are Sarvatma, Sarvagya, you know everything. So whatever you know, you tell me. Whatever I have asked you, you tell me. What I have not asked, and whatever you know, tell me everything. Of course, remember everything. It is not possible for any person to describe everything about Krishna, nor is it possible for anyone to hear everything about Krishna, because Krishna's pastimes are unlimited. So we don't have that lifespan, and it's not possible for anyone to speak everything. So he said, whatever you know, tell me whatever you know. You are Sarvagya, you know everything. So whatever you know, you tell me. Why you should tell me? Because Shraddhayanaya, right? That means I am very faithful. So here also it is explained. So of course, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada said that I'm not envious of the Supreme Lord, I'm faithful, but also I'm very faithful to you. You are the spiritual master, right? So please explain to me, because I have full faith in your words. Please explain. So it is explained that unless one has this type of faith in the spiritual master, the knowledge will not flow from the spiritual master to the disciple. If you don't have faith, then don't listen from such a spiritual master if you don't have faith in their words. Like that. So please explain in detail. So we came up to that point. So now Sukadeva Goswami has to begin speaking. So this, I think, is the last statement of Parikshit Maharaj in this section, where he's asking so many questions of Sukadeva Goswami. Okay. Text. Just making sure that I didn't miss any points. Yes. So we'll start with text 13 now. Inya, it's your turn. नैषाति दुःसहाक्षुन्मां त्यक्तोदम् अपि बाधते पिबन्तं त्वन्मुखाम्भोज च्युतं हरिकथामृतम्. Inia's turn.
Mataji, let me read the translation. Because of my vow on the verge of death, I have given up even drinking water. Yet because I am drinking the nectar of topics about Krishna, which is flowing from the lotus mouth of your lordship, my hunger and thirst, which are extremely difficult to bear, cannot hinder me.
So we'll also read the purport. So Inia is there, Prabhuji?
Not available, Mataji. Maybe 5 more minutes.
Okay. Next person can read. Isha.
To prepare to meet death in 7 days, Maharaj Parikshit gave up all food and drink. As a human being, he was certainly both hungry and thirsty, and therefore Sukadeva Goswami might have wanted to stop narrating the transcendental topics of Krishna. But despite his fast, Maharaj Parikshit was not at all fatigued. The hunger and thirst from my fast do not disturb me, he said. Once when I felt very thirsty, I went to the ashram of Shamika Muni to drink water, but the Muni did not supply it. I therefore wrapped a dead snake over his shoulder, and that is why I was cursed by the Brahmana boy. Now, however, I am quite fit. I am not at all disturbed by my hunger and thirst. This indicates that although on the material platform there are disturbances from hunger and thirst, on the spiritual platform there is no such thing as fatigue.
Okay. Krishna Shish is there.
No.
Madhava.
The entire world is suffering by spiritual thirst. Every living being is Brahman, or spirit soul, and needs spiritual food to satisfy his hunger and thirst. Unfortunately, however, the world is completely unaware of the nectar of Krishna Katha. The Krishna consciousness movement is therefore a boon to philosophers, religionists, and people in general. There is certainly a charming attraction in Krishna Katha. Therefore, the absolute truth is called Krishna, the most attractive.
Okay, go ahead.
The word Amrita is also an important reference to the moon, and the word Ambuja means lotus. The pleasing moonshine, pleasing fragrance of the lotus combine to bring pleasure to everyone hearing Krishna Katha from the mouth of Sukadeva Goswami, as it is said.
मतिर्न कृष्णे परतो स्वतो वा मिथोऽभिपद्येत गृहव्रतानाम् अदान्तगोभिर्विशतां तमिस्रं पुनः पुनश्चर्वितचर्वणानाम्. Rasapriya, you can read the next paragraph.
Because of their uncontrolled senses, persons too addicted to materialistic life make progress toward hellish conditions and repeatedly choose that which has already been sown. Their inclinations toward Krishna are never aroused, either by the instructions of others, by their own efforts, or by a combination of both. Bhagavad Gita Bhagavatam 7.5.2. At the present moment, all of human society is engaged in the business of chewing the soot. Puna punas sarvita sarvanam. People are prepared to undergo Mrityu samsara of birth money, taking birth in one form, dying, accepting another form, and dying again. To stop this repetition of birth and death, Krishna Katha or Krishna consciousness is absolutely necessary. But unless one hears Krishna Katha from a realized soul like Sukadeva Goswami, one cannot realize the nectar of Krishna Katha, which puts an end to all material fatigue and enjoy the blissful life of transcendental existence. In relation to the Krishna consciousness movement, we actually see that those who have tasted the nectar of Krishna Katha lose all material desires, whereas those who cannot understand Krishna and Krishna Katha regard the Krishna consciousness life as
brainwashing, and mind control. While the devotees enjoy spiritual bliss, the non-devotees are surprised that the devotees have forgotten material hampers.
So, what is the context here? Parikshit Maharaj is asking Sukadev Goswami to narrate Krishna's pastimes more elaborately. And in various ways, he's encouraging Sukadev Goswami why he should describe Krishna's pastimes elaborately. So now, Sukadev Goswami may think, Parikshit Maharaj has been fasting for how many days now? He was cursed when he found out that he was to die by the snake bite, uh, by a snake bite, 7 days from that day. So immediately that day, he left home, his kingdom. He made his son, the next heir to the kingdom. And he went and sat on the banks of the Ganges. And soon, all the sages from all over the universe assembled there. And then Sukadev Goswami also came. So he expressed his determination to go on fast until death. That means he will not eat or drink anything, nor will he sleep, obviously. And he simply would listen to Krishna Katha. And Sukadev Goswami came. He glorified Sukadev Goswami. I requested him to please begin Srimad Bhagavatam. And Sukadev Goswami also. And he started asking his questions about creation and so on and so forth. And Sukadev Goswami begins to speak. So this started about 4 days ago. Now, when the 10th canto started, this is the end of the 4th day. So how many days are remaining? 5, 6 and 7. 3 days. So for 4 days, Parikshit Maharaj didn't drink anything, didn't eat anything. He didn't even drink water. So Sukadev Goswami may think, so this is all Parikshit Maharaj's thought process. He's thinking, Sukadev Goswami may think that, oh, I have been fasting for 4 days. I may be tired. And continuously I have been listening to. Actually, he's not just thinking, he's going to speak, right? When he's speaking to Sukadev Goswami, he's indicating to Sukadev Goswami that, oh, Sukadev Goswami, you may be thinking that I'm tired. So that is his intention, right? Sukadev Goswami, you may be thinking that I'm tired after continuous hearing for 3 days and nights, and 4th day also. Most of the 4th day is over. I've been listening. So you may be thinking that I should get a break. Why? Why should I get a break? Because hunger is very difficult to tolerate, of course, right? Hunger and thirst, it's not easy to tolerate. And what to speak of, on one hand, you don't eat or drink anything, and then you're expected to hear continuously philosophy. It's understandable that you may become tired. You may want a break, and then you'll come back and listen. So Sukadev Goswami may be considering like this, but Parikshit Maharaj did not want Sukadev Goswami to stop. So this verse is saying, so this is still Parikshit Maharaj only speaking to Sukadev Goswami. This is the last verse actually. So he is encouraging Sukadev Goswami that you may be thinking that I am thirsty, I am hungry, I am tired after hearing for 3 full days and 4th day. You may be thinking that I am tired. Another reason why Sukadev Goswami may think that Parikshit Maharaj is so tired and it's not good to go on without giving him a break is when he was, we all know how, he's a very exalted king, right? A very, he's also Dharmashila, right? Very strictly adherent to Dharma, a very great personality. When Parikshit Maharaj appeared, all the great sages, they came and, they predicted his future, what kind of a person he is. They did the astrological chart and they said, he is like Lord Ramchandra, he is like Yudhishthir Maharaj, he is like Lord Vishnu, from his various qualities and from his, what different activities he's going to perform. They were glorifying him. So we understand he's not an ordinary person. He's a very exalted person. Still, when he came under the grip of hunger and thirst, what happened? He went to Shamika Rishi's ashram. He was so thirsty, so hungry, he didn't eat, so tired. Same situation, right? He was so tired, so hungry, so thirsty. And he asked Parikshit Maharaj, Shamika Rishi, for some water. Can I get some water? Shamika Rishi didn't respond. What happened? Because of that hunger and thirst, which he could not tolerate, he became angry. He wrapped a dead serpent around Samika Rishi. And then Samika Rishi's son, when he found out about this, he cursed Parikshit Maharaj. That so today his condition is like this, right? He's cursed to die within 7 days only because he was not able to tolerate hunger and thirst. He became angry. Therefore, it is better to give him a break. He's been hungry and thirsty for almost 4 days now. It is not good to push him to the end, right? Give him a break. Give him a break. Sukadeva Goswami may be considering like this. So Parikshit Maharaj is saying that you may be thinking like this, but what is my situation? Naishati dussahakshun mam na esha ati dussaha. Kshud. Kshud means what? Hunger. Kshud. Mam, to me, right? This hunger is dussaha, not dussaha. Sahan karna means to tolerate. Dussaha means intolerable. Ati dussaha means extremely intolerable, right? This hunger is extremely intolerable to me. Tyakta udam api badhate, right? Tyakta udam. But the fact is, that means even though this hunger is intolerable, and even though I have even given up drinking water, I haven't even taken water, what to speak of eating food. See, on one hand, hunger is extremely intolerable to me. How do you know it is intolerable to him? From that history, that he became so hungry and thirsty, he was not able to tolerate, that he put a dead serpent. Of course, from that section, we also understand that Parikshit Maharaj never ever did anything like that. That incident only happened because there's no explanation to that, why it happened. Parikshit Maharaj would never ever do such a thing. He himself is surprised how he did that. This is the Lord's arrangement so that Bhagavatam could come. But still, he did that nevertheless, right? So here he's saying that this hunger is extremely intolerable to me. How do you know that it is intolerable? From that instance, it's extremely intolerable to me. And added to that, on one hand, I'm so hungry and I cannot tolerate hunger. And added to that, I haven't even taken a sip of water in all these days. You may be thinking, oh Sukadeva Goswami, Parikshit has not taken any food or any water for 4 days. This is a very difficult situation. So let me give a break. You may be thinking like this. But please listen, O Sukadeva Goswami. Tyaktodam api badhate. But pibant, it's not, but this hunger and thirst, although I have not even taken water, and even though hunger is very difficult to tolerate, I'm hungry and thirsty, right? Supposedly. But it is not at all bothering me. This is surprising. It's not bothering me. Even though hunger is very difficult to tolerate, and I have not even taken a sip of water, but still it is not bothering me. It's not giving me any pain. I don't feel any suffering from this hunger and thirst. Why? Pibantam. Pibantam. Why? I'm drinking. Twan mukhambojam. Tvam means your. Mukha ambujam. Ambujam is lotus. Mukha means mouth. So lotus mouth. While I am drinking from your lotus mouth, what am I drinking from your mouth? Achyutam Hari Kathamritam. Achyutam Hari is, okay, not Achyutam, Chutam. Tvam Mukhambojam Mukhambojachyutam. Chutam means it's emanating. Okay, it's emanating, like it's coming out of your mouth. Mukhambujam means from the lotus mouth. What's happening from the lotus mouth? Something is coming. What is coming? Hari Kathamritam. So Hari Katha, glories of Krishna, are compared to Amritam, nectar. Nectar. Okay. While I'm drinking this nectar, what nectar? Nectar of Hari Katha. From where? What is the source of this nectar, nectarian Harikatha? Your lotus mouth. Your lotus mouth is emanating or emitting, it's giving out, it's pouring this Harikathamrita, and I'm drinking it. I'm drinking this Amritam. What Amritam? Harikatha. Harikatha Amritam means nectarian pastimes, glories of Hari. So nectar, like glories of Krishna. Nectar, what do you do with nectar? You drink nectar, isn't it? I am drinking this nectar. And where is this nectar coming from? Where is it pouring from? From your lotus mouth. Lotus has nectar, you know that? That's why these bumblebees, they go always hovering on lotus. For what? To collect nectar from the lotus. They're hovering. They're so attracted that they get intoxicated by that nectar, that even when the lotus, when the lotus closes, they die practically inside, because it is closed now. They cannot get out of attraction for that nectar. So the point is, lotus has nectar. So from the lotus, nectar comes. So here the lotus is Mukha Ambujam. The mouth of Sukadev Goswami is the lotus mouth. And the nectar that is coming from that lotus is Harikatha. And that, who is drinking that Harikatha? Who is that honeybee drinking that Harikatha? Parikshit Maharaj. So Parikshit Maharaj is saying, I have not eaten anything. I have not even taken water. But I am not feeling any suffering. Although hunger is very intolerable, I am not feeling any suffering. I don't feel any pain. As long as I'm drinking this Harikatha from your lotus mouth, that is completely satisfying me. It's giving me nourishment. I'm full. I'm full because I'm drinking this Amrita. I don't need any food or drink or water. I'm drinking this nectar. This is keeping me healthy, strong, nourished. This is sustaining my life. You are thinking that I have to give a break from this katha so that he'll get some rest. If you give a break, then I will feel pain. Because as long as you're speaking, you're pouring out this nectar which I'm drinking and it is sustaining me. If you stop speaking, the nectar will stop. Then I will start feeling hunger and thirst and I'll start suffering. So don't stop. I don't need any breaks. Don't stop. If you stop, then I will suffer. If you don't stop, then I'm continuously drinking this nectar. I don't even feel any hunger or thirst. But if you stop speaking, then I will suffer from hunger and thirst and everything else. So don't stop. So it's actually the opposite. You are thinking that without eating and drinking, I'm suffering, so I should get a break. It's just the opposite. As long as you speak, I'm completely fine. If you stop, then I will suffer. So please don't stop. So this is what Parikshit Maharaj, this is his intention in speaking this verse. What is Parikshit Maharaj saying? Naishati dussaha akshun mam tyaktodam api badhate. Right? Even though this hunger is ati dussaha, extremely intolerable, and even though I have not taken any water, still it is not giving me any pain. Why? Pibantam tvam mukham bhojam. I am drinking as long as it won't give me any pain, as long as, or it is not giving me any pain because I am drinking from your lotus mouth. Tvam mukham bhojam chutam. Right? I am drinking the nectar which is emitting or emanating from your lotus mouth. What is that nectar? Harikathamritam. Okay. So here, lotus is compared to Sukadeva Goswami's mouth and Harikatha is compared to Amritam or nectar. So with that background, now we can go over once again. Because of my vow on the verge of death, I have given up even drinking water. Yet because I am drinking the nectar of topics from Krishna, which is flowing from the lotus mouth of your Lordship, my hunger and thirst, which are extremely difficult to bear, cannot hinder me. Purport: to prepare to meet death in 7 days, Maharaj Parikshit gave up all food and drink. As a human being, he was certainly both hungry and thirsty, and therefore Sukadeva Goswami might have wanted to stop narrating. So yeah, we discussed the same thing. But Parikshit Maharaj is saying, no, I'm not at all tired, right? They're not disturbing me at all, right? And then the history. Actually, once upon a time, I did that out of thirst and hunger. I wrapped a dead snake, and as a result, I was cursed by the Brahmana boy. But don't think that I'm feeling the same way now. No, it's not the same. What is the difference? What is the difference between that time and present time? Tell me, what is the difference?
That time, it was destiny. I mean, it was. There was no Krishna Katha. Yeah, Arunita is saying
That's the answer. Arunita gets 100 points. At that time, he was not listening to Krishna Katha. He was not listening to Srimad Bhagavatam. Now he's listening to Srimad Bhagavatam. So that hunger and thirst is not bothering him now. So all glory to Srimad Bhagavatam. So now I'm hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, so I don't feel any hunger or thirst. But at that time he felt he was not able to bear it because he was not hearing Krishna Katha at that time, like that. That's why if you stop now, again, it's possible that I will feel the same way. No Krishna Katha means again I can become like that. But now, no, because I'm hearing Krishna Katha, I'm hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, it's not disturbing me at all. Don't think it's the same situation. Now I'm quite fit, right? Now, however, I'm quite fit. I'm not at all disturbed by hunger and thirst. So what is Srila Prabhupada saying? This indicates that although on the material platform there are disturbances from hunger and thirst on the spiritual platform. There is no such thing as fatigue. And I discussed this before also on days like Janmashtami, right, or Pandav Nirjala Ekadasi, Gaur Purnima, when you are supposed to do a full fast, no eating or drinking all day. If you are not engaged in devotional service, either hearing or chanting, or you have to be absorbed. You have to be absorbed completely all day, either cooking or worshipping, some service, direct devotional service. If you are engaged, you won't even realize that you're hungry, guaranteed. You won't even realize that you're fasting. You will not realize how, in fact, you will feel that the time is passing so quickly and so many things have to be done. You'll be like, my God, I don't. If you're fasting normally, what is the experience? Oh, so much time is left still. In the initial days, uh, when you just start fasting, then oh, midnight, it still hasn't come yet, and your energy levels are going down. When will the time doesn't pass when you're trying to fast if you are not properly engaged. But if you are engaged in devotional service, you're completely absorbed. Let it be whether you're making garlands or you're cooking, or you're singing, you're decorating the temple, worshipping the deities, decorating the deities, dressing them, bathing them. You won't even realize that you're fasting. And even serving devotees, you see devotees, they fast. I'm always amazed when I see the pujaris, um, everywhere pujaris, but especially I see here in Mayapur. They on fasting days, right? They stay there. It's not over with Abhishek. For the rest of us, after the Abhishek is done, you go and take prasad, isn't it? That means now fasting is over. At least Anukal prasad, you take Ekadasi prasad, you can go and take, you break, right? You can eat something, drink or eat something. The pujaris, after first of all, the Abhishek goes on for hours and hours and hours, and they're standing there, they're performing Abhishek, and they're all blissful. You don't see that they are like morose or anything. And after the Abhishek, you think they'll all go and eat? No. Now they have to take the deity back to the temple, because here Abhishek happens outside. In the pandal, they actually bring the deities on a chariot to the parking lot, and then set up on the stage and perform Abhishek for hours and hours together. And after all that Abhishek, now bring the deities back, change their clothes, dress them up again, offer them bhoga, perform arati, then again put them to rest, night dress, and all that. When they eat, Krishna knows, but they just go on and on and on, blissfully performing devotional service. This is the sign of your advancement, that even because you get so much nectar in the devotional service itself, you don't feel any thirst or hunger, any pains for hunger or thirst. Of course, you also have a material body, and body's demands are hunger, thirst, sleep, right? You need all these things. But when you are on the spiritual platform, you don't feel all these things. It's practical. It's not just theoretical, it's practical. You will feel, you can see when you're absorbed, when you're on the spiritual platform. Some, when they were doing this marathon for bringing out Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Prabhupada gave them a deadline. Within 2 months, I want all the books of Chaitanya Charitamrita, which was ordinarily speaking impossible. But the devotees took up that challenge from Srila Prabhupada, and they had 24-hour shifts of devotees working on, somebody is making the paintings, somebody is, editing, somebody is 24/7. Devotees worked, and they actually completed. So about this one devotee, she practically didn't sleep. Day and night she was there working. And somebody said to Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada said, she's not working on the material energy. She's working on, in the spiritual energy. So the internal energy. So in the internal energy, you don't feel no hunger, no thirst. So many examples. We see about the 6 Goswamis. I'm giving you the recent and even present. It is possible even now, if you're absorbed like that in devotional service, it may not be possible for us to do like this every day, every moment in our state, but at least on these special days like Janmashtami and Gaur Purnima, some devotees do on Ekadasi, they don't sleep all night even. All day fasting, all night, they don't sleep. But how do they stay up all night? By playing video games or watching movies and stuff. Sometimes, when I was a child, I used to see for Shivratri, right? You're supposed to stay up all night. So they just play movies all night long, and everyone is watching all mundane movies all night long, and then they become happy. Oh, I have stayed up all night for Shivratri. What is this? What type of vrata is this? That's not the way to do it. So on Ekadasi, my God, yeah, Priyanka Mataji saying Dronacharya Prabhu didn't sleep for more than 48 hours during Janmashtami. And he even goes and cleans inside and all that, serve out. And yeah, this is, so when you're engaged in devotional service like that, you don't even, feel. So like that. So Parikshit Maharaj is also saying that I don't feel hunger or thirst. And Srila Prabhupada is saying, it is possible, even though you have a material body, right? One second, I'll go back here. See, this indicates that although on the material platform there are disturbances from hunger and thirst. So when you're on the material platform, you suffer. But if you're on the spiritual platform, you still have this body, but you're on the spiritual platform, right? Your consciousness is spiritual, and you're directly in touch with the spiritual energy, internal energy. How? Through devotional service. There is no such thing as fatigue. So it's all based on the consciousness of the person and practical engagement. Practical engagement. Yes, Aditi Lata Mataji.
Mataji, I think Bhagavatam's second sloka is similar to this, that this is like the nectar.
Dharma projita kaitavotra paramo nirmatsaranam sadam. That one?
Yes.
Vedyam vastam atra vastu shivadam tapatrayon moolanam. Yes. By hearing it, it uproots the threefold miseries. Tapatrayon moolanam. Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kim va parairishvaraha Sadyo Hridyavarudhyatetra Kritivi Shushrushubish Tat Kshanat. So immediately the Supreme Lord, is established. He comes and sits in your heart when you hear Srimad Bhagavatam.
I think Mataji is talking about the third verse where it comes Pibatam Bhagavatam
Nigama
Rasamala.
Kalpataror Galitam Phalam. Acha. Yes. Thank you. Nigama Kalpataror Galitam Phalam Shukamukhad Amrita Drava Samyitam. Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam. Muhuraho Rasika Bhuvi Bhavukaha. Yes. Drink this Rasamalayam. Bhagavatam is Rasamalayam. Like you have Granthalaya. Granthalaya means it's a house of Grantha, all books. Library is called Granthalaya. So similarly, Rasam Alayam means it's filled with rasa. It's just filled with rasa. What is that? The Srimad Bhagavatam. So those who are relishers of rasa, right? Some people are, what do you call them? Connoisseurs or something, right? Those who are expert in tasting, they can tell the fine difference in tastes, right? They taste different flavors and they can tell. So like that. So those who are expert in tasting what? Rasas, various rasas. Rasika. Muhuraho rasika bhui bhavukaha. Come, drink this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is Rasamalayam. It is filled with rasa. You come and you drink. Again and again you drink. Like that. Sukadev goes, or Vyasdev, is inviting all the Rasikas to come and drink this Srimad Bhagavatam. So similarly, here Parikshit Maharaj is also saying that I am drinking. And remember, I told you, drink, who drinks and who just hears, there's a difference, right? Drinking is done by those who are on the platform of Bhava Bhakti and above, Bhava and Prema Bhakti. Those devotees drink. They drink with their ears. And those who are not on that platform, they hear with their ears. But those who are Rasikas, they can relish, they actually drink and they taste the nectar of Krishna Katha. Okay, thank you. So let's continue. At least we'll finish this purport today. The entire world is suffering. Now Srila Prabhupada is giving his purport also. The entire world is suffering because of spiritual thirst. Right. So here we are talking about drinking, isn't it? So the whole world is thirsty, right? They're thirsty for what? Well, there are many types of drinks. You have all types of juices and sparkling water and sodas and so many things. And of course, those who drink wine, they have those also. But still, the whole world is thirsty for spiritual satisfaction. Every living being is Brahman or spirit soul and needs spiritual food to satisfy his hunger and thirst. Unfortunately, however, the world is completely unaware of the nectar of Krishna Katha. The way to quench your thirst, right? This spiritual hunger and thirst is through Krishna Katha. Through Krishna Katha. But unfortunately, nobody knows. They are starving and they are thirsty, they are parched, but they don't know where to get that drink, right? They are unaware of the nectar of Krishna Katha. The Krishna consciousness is like exactly like samsara dava nalalidha loka tranaya karunya ghana ghanatva. Right? This whole world is like a burning forest fire. Everyone is getting burnt by this samsara. Samsara means material existence. Material existence is like a forest fire. Everyone is getting, like all the animals and birds and trees that live in that forest, they're all getting burnt, scorched and burnt, suffering like anything. That is samsara, material existence. Everyone, all people in this world, in the material existence, they're all getting burnt and scorched by the miseries, threefold miseries. And now there is this rain cloud that pours rain on this forest fire. Immediately it cools down the burning pain caused by that fire. So there it is said that's the mercy of the spiritual master, right? The mercy of the spiritual master comes in the form of that rain. Actually, so in this context, you can see what is the spiritual master giving us? He's giving us Bhagavatam, isn't it? He's giving us Bhagavatam, spiritual master. So that mercy, that rain is this Krishna Katha. He gives us Krishna Katha. So this Krishna Katha soothes the suffering souls' thirst, satisfies their thirst, spiritual thirst, and it mitigates their suffering. So here it is said about this Krishna Katha is the Krishna consciousness movement is therefore a boon. It is a boon because everyone is suffering with this spiritual thirst and they don't even know how to quench that thirst. This thirst can only be quenched through Krishna Katha, by drinking Krishna Katha, and this Krishna consciousness movement is supplying that. So this Krishna consciousness movement is a boon. Why philosophers, religionists? Because philosophers are looking, at least that's what they're supposed to do. Philosophers means they see that is there anything beyond just material life, that's a philosopher, isn't it? He's trying to see things outside the box, not just the daily mundane life. What is the purpose of all this? That's a philosopher. But even they don't know the solution. They're at least they're questioning. That's good, but they also don't have, because answers can only come through the parampara. So you have to get the right guru, then you'll get the answers. But at least they're questioning. That's good. Then you're on the human platform. Athato Brahma Jigyasa. If you're inquiring about who is the creator, where did I come from, what is my origin, what happens to me after death, who has created the sun and the stars and the sky, how do the day and night happen regularly, the seasons change, who's doing all this, is there any person behind this? Like this, when somebody is questioning, then he's actually a human being. Or once you come to the human form of life, what is your responsibility? Athato means now. Now means now that you came to this human form of life, you must inquire about Brahma, Brahma Jigyasa. So these are the philosophers who inquire. But simply because you're inquiring, it doesn't mean you know the answer, right? So this Krishna consciousness movement, which is supplying Krishna Katha, right? Especially the 10th canto, Krishna book, it's coming from the Krishna consciousness movement. So this Krishna consciousness movement is a boon to these inquiring philosophers, the religionists, and also the people in general. Not all of us were actually inquiring. Somehow or other, we happen to sometimes, there are four types of people, right? Artho, Artharthi, Jigyasu, Jnani, cha Bharatashta. So one way or the other. But sometimes you just bump into devotees, maybe through a family member or a friend, or, you know, you may not be a philosopher, but by great good fortune, right, you receive the mercy of a devotee, and you also learn and you also get Krishna Katha by their mercy. So this Krishna consciousness movement is a boon to all types of people, to the philosophers, to the religionists, and also to the people in general. There is certainly a charming attraction in Krishna and Krishna Katha. Therefore, the absolute truth is called Krishna. Krishna means all attractive, the most attractive. And Krishna Katha is also, like him, most attractive. And this Krishna Katha is the only medicine. It is the only drink that can quench the thirst of all suffering souls. And this Krishna Katha is being supplied by the Krishna consciousness movement. So this Hare Krishna movement is a boon to the entire human society. Why human society? All types of creatures. It's a boon to the whole universe. The word Amrita is also an important reference to the moon. So this part we'll discuss tomorrow. So there is another interpretation, the second interpretation, that we will discuss tomorrow, because that will take again some time. So today we just discussed one interpretation of this verse, that Ambujam, lotus, is compared to the mouth of Sukadeva Goswami, and Amritam, nectar, that is compared to the Krishna Katha. Okay, so another interpretation we'll see tomorrow. Now let us read Bhagavad Gita and Leelamrita. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 2. Yesterday we did Natve Vaham Jatunasam. We covered the whole shloka yesterday. Very important verse. How to counteract the arguments of the Mayavadi. Now the next verse, 213. Please repeat. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara तथा देहांतर प्राप्तिर धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यति. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. So, beginning with Krishna's instructions, started with text 11. Ashochananva shochastvam pragyavadamscha bhashase gatasun agatasumscha nanu shochanti pandit. So a learned person will not lament either for the gross body or the subtle body. Why he will not lament? So Krishna is bringing to the point that you are lamenting for the body, right? Who laments for the body? An ignorant person laments. A learned person does not lament for the body. Why? Because the learned person knows Natvevaham jatunasam natvam neme janadipaha. We are not these bodies. That's the point. We are all individuals. We have been existing in the past. We are existing now. We will continue to exist in the future. So the point being made is we are not these bodies. Because if you say we were existing in the past, was I existing in this body in the past? No. I have a date of birth when I was born. I was not existing like this before that date. But Krishna is saying, you existed, I existed, they all existed. Who existed? These bodies didn't exist. That means we are not these bodies. We are spirit souls. The spirit soul is always existing. The spirit soul, whether in the conditioned state or in liberated state, is always existing. In the conditioned state, he has different bodies. He changes bodies from one body to another, but he's always existing. And he will continue to exist in future also as spirit soul. Only when he is liberated, when he goes back to the spiritual world, then he will have his eternal spiritual body. He won't change bodies again. But there also he will remain individual. That's the whole point. So now today's verse is saying, Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhiras tatranna muhyati. Same thing. How the spirit soul, even in this body, what to speak of previous body and after this body, even in this body, because previous body I don't remember, right? I don't know who I don't see. I don't remember who I was. And if you tell me in my next life I'm going to be something else, I don't see that either. But within this body, I have seen. This is my experience in this life. I remember I was a child. I remember I was a teenager. I remember I was a youth, and now I'm seeing that I'm growing older. This is my experience. So we are individuals eternally. Before this also we existed. We didn't exist in this body, but I didn't see that. The same thing you can see in this very life. That's what this. So as the spirit soul continually passes in this body, so within this body the spirit soul is continuously passing. How do you know? Because I remember that I was that body. I remember when I was young. I remember, I know now. So who is that I? Bodies have been changing. I was a little small child at one point, and then I was a little older running around and playing, and I became even older, right? Who's that I? I remember everything, although the bodies are changing. So the bodies are permanent? No. Permanent is that I, and I am not this body because the body changed. I don't have that body anymore. It's a different body. The body has changed, but I am the same person. So, and in several verses in this verse, Krishna keeps making that point that you are not this body, the difference between body and the soul. So, this verse is saying, as the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. So, what makes you think that after death, then all of a sudden the soul is finished? In this body, the bodies have changed. Young body has changed to old body, and after old body there is death. What do you think happens to spirit soul? Just like it was moving from one body to another in this life, similarly at the time of death, the soul will move from this body to another body. But the important thing is, one who is not learned, when he sees that, he becomes bewildered, whether it is his own or his relatives and dear ones. He becomes bewildered. He begins to lament. But Pandita, he will not lament because he knows the spirit soul continues to live. He knows. So, sober person is not bewildered. That's the point. The change is happening in this life, and same change will take place after this life also, after this body. But a sober person will not be bewildered by this change. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Since every living entity is an individual soul, that was already established in the previous verse. Every living entity is an individual soul. Each is changing his body every moment. Not just at the time of death, he changes the body. At every moment, the body is changing. The soul is changing the body at every moment. According to science, and this is like very old statistics, they may have more information now, I don't know. But all the cells of the body are changed in 7 years. After every 7 years, none of the old cells exist in that body. Constantly at every moment, any biologist can tell you this, or any, you know, yeah, any type of biologist, he will know this fact that the cells are constantly being degenerated and constantly new cells are formed in the body, and this body is nothing but a combination of cells. You have cells that form the skin, cells that form your muscle, cells that form your blood, cells that form your bones. It's just cells together forming various parts of your body. And these cells are constantly being degenerated. Old cells are, they die and the cells are gotten rid of. There's a system mechanism in the body and new cells are formed. So constantly the body is changing. The old cells, the dead cells, the body gets rid of the dead cells and the old body, because body is nothing but combination of cells. So constantly the body is changing, and after every 7 years, you don't have the body that you had 7 years before. None of that cells that you had 7 years before exist in your body today. Every 7 years, you have all new cells. That means you have a new body, completely new body. The change is constantly happening. But after 7 years, none of the old cells exist. It's a brand new body completely. You don't have the body that you had 7 years ago. In this life, this is in this very life. So where is the difficulty to understand that at the time of death, when the body is dead, right, all cells are dead eventually, right? So then the soul goes on to another body. Like in this life, the soul is moving from one body to another. Similarly, at the time of death also, it moves to another body, of course. Daiva netrena. right, by the arrangement of the Supreme Lord and higher authorities, material nature. He is not independently moving here and there from one body to another. He doesn't have that capacity. That's why we are conditioned, right? Like prisoners. Prisoners are not free to move wherever they like. They have these jail wardens that guide them where they should go, what they should do, when to come back, everything. They're not free. So like that. But still, the fact is you're moving. The soul is moving from one body to another. So, since every living entity is an individual soul, each is changing his body at every moment, manifesting sometimes as a child, sometimes as a youth, and sometimes as an old man. Yet the same spirit soul is there and does not undergo any change. So, is that I also changing? No, I remains the same. I did that when I was 3 years old. I did that when I was 20 years old. I did that when I was 30 years old. That I is still the same, although so many bodies changed. That's why yet the same spirit soul is there and does not undergo any change. This individual soul finally changes the body at death and transmigrates to another body, and since it is sure to have another body in the next birth, that is also there. You're sure to get another body. The soul is sure to get another body, either material or spiritual. There was no cause for lamentation by Arjun on account of death, neither for Bhishma nor for Drona, for whom he was so much concerned. Rather, he should rejoice for their changing bodies from old to new ones, thereby rejuvenating their energy. Here, sometimes, about rejoicing the change of bodies, as devotees, you should be sensitive. Just one point to be mentioned here. Very conveniently, I mean, we should speak according to our realization. Of course, you say what is said in the Shastra, certainly you should say that, but also you should speak according to realization. What I'm trying to say here is, when you see someone's father or parent or someone die, you say, oh, you should rejoice, they have an old body and now they died, and so they'll get a fresh body, new body, so you should be happy for that. It's right, Srila Prabhupada is saying it here, but you should also apply the same when it happens to someone who's dear to you, right? When your father or mother die, you should be able to say the same thing. Oh, they were in an old body, now they get a new body, I should rejoice, now they'll get it. If you're able to do that for those who are dear to you, then you also preach the same way to others, you can say that. But if you are saying that to others, being very preachy to others, and when it comes to you and you're like, no, this is my, right? You're crying and lamenting because this is my people, and for someone else's, you'll say this, you should rejoice, and that is called hypocrisy. So you shouldn't do that. Okay? But it is a fact. It is a fact that death is inevitable. Death means what? Death means the soul's leaving this body. We are not going to stay in these bodies eternally. It is a fact. It's better to be prepared for that now than to become shocked when it actually comes to us or when it comes to our dear ones, because we are not prepared for it. Right? It is certain this is not a permanent place, neither this body nor this residence. We are not here permanently. We have to leave. Whether we leave peacefully, being prepared, or we'll be kicked out of it by force, and it's going to be very painful. But in either case, we have to leave. We cannot live in these bodies forever. It's a fact. So, Srila Prabhupada is saying that lamentation, why? Why should Arjun lament for Bhishma and Drona? Because after giving up this body, another body will be given. He will get another body, either spiritual or material. So you should become happy that now they have old bodies, so many joint pains and this and that. But now, when, after giving up this body, they'll get a new body, fresh body. Once again, they'll be running around playing. You should feel happy for them. The suffering of old age is over. Such changes of body account for varieties of enjoyment or suffering according to one's work in life. Yeah, whether you get a material body or spiritual body, that depends on your karma, right? If you still have desires to enjoy, then you'll get another material body. And you have karma where you're meant to suffer, you'll get another material body where you'll have to suffer for your past activities. So Bhishma and Drona, but in the case of Bhishma and Drona, being noble souls, were surely going to have spiritual bodies in the next life. If not, at least they'll have a life in heavenly bodies. Heavenly bodies means longer life, better health, superior enjoyment for material existence. So they'll be in better position than what they are in presently. So in either case, there was no cause of lamentation. Any man who has perfect knowledge of the constitution of the individual soul, the super soul, and nature, both material and spiritual, is called dhira, or a most sober man. Such a man is never deluded by the changes of body. So dhiras tatra na muhyati, a dhira, a sober person, is not bewildered by such a change. What change? When one dies. So what do you mean by this dhira? Dhira means who has full knowledge of the soul, the super soul, material nature, not material nature, nature. Nature means again both prakriti, both material and spiritual prakriti. One who has this knowledge, 13th chapter, right? What is jnanam gyayam? Jnanam means to know kshetra, kshetragya, right? Kshetra means the field, the body. Kshetragya means the knower, which is the individual soul, and the Paramatma. So kshetra means prakriti. So in prakriti, again, you have material and spiritual prakriti. One who knows this, he'll be sober. He won't be bewildered when death takes place, either his death or someone else's death. Such a man is never deluded by the change of bodies. Okay, one more paragraph. I'll just read that. The Mayavadi theory of oneness of the spirit soul cannot be entertained on the ground that the spirit soul cannot be cut into pieces as a fragmental portion. Such cutting into different individual souls would make the supreme cleavable or changeable against the principle of the supreme souls being unchangeable. See, the point here is, what are they saying? That Ghatakash Patakash. Right now in the conditioned state, that one supreme Brahman is appearing in so many different forms. And then when one transcends the material nature, he will become one again. So you're saying all these individuals, which Krishna talked about in 212, that individual, Mayavadis say that individuality is related to the body. That means that one soul is now divided into so many individual souls in the conditioned state. And again, when one is liberated, all these souls merge together. When you say that the souls are merging together into one, that means that which can be joined can also be broken. This is actually a rule. If you can join two things together, that means they can be broken into two parts also. So when you say after liberation all living entities are going to merge, right? You want to go and merge into Brahman. What does that mean? Like now I'm separate, I want to go and merge, become one with Brahman, isn't it? So that becoming one with Brahman, when you say, that means that Brahman is divided before into individual and many individuals. It's cleavable. But the Supreme is not. Achedyoyam adahyoyam akledyo shoshevacha. Achedyoyam. It's unbreakable. Spirit cannot be broken. It cannot be separated into pieces. You cannot. So it's going against that rule that spirit cannot be broken, that fact. So therefore they are contradicting themselves. Mayavadi theory of oneness of spirit soul cannot be entertained on the ground that the spirit soul cannot be cut into pieces as a fragmental portion. If such cutting into different individual souls would make the supreme cleavable, that means the supreme can be broken into different pieces or changeable, against the principle of the supreme souls being unchangeable. But the fact is, supreme soul is unchangeable. As confirmed in the Gita, the fragmental portions of the supreme exist eternally and are called kshara. So we are all portions, but it's not like at some point we became separated from the supreme. It's not like that. Eternally we are there. That is, they have a tendency to fall down into material nature. These fragmental portions are eternally so, and even after liberation, the individual soul remains the same fragmental. It's not like it will go and merge and become one. Then what is the difference between liberated and conditioned state? Once liberated, he lives an eternal life in bliss and knowledge with the supreme personality of Godhead. That's the thing. In the conditioned state, you in the conditioned state, you are not living eternally. Dehi nosmin yatha dehe means what? Constantly the body is changing, and then you die or you give up this body. But when you become liberated, you don't have to change your bodies. You are eternally living in bliss and knowledge with the personality of Godhead. The theory of reflection can be applied to the super soul. Yes. Now one will ask, if super soul is one, how the same super soul is present in so many different living entities? That means that one super soul is divided into so many thousands, right? There are so many living entities. In every living entity's heart there's Paramatma. That means that one Supreme Lord is divided into so many, and each portion is in every living entity. One may think, if you are saying the Supreme Lord is not cleavable, then how is present in each and every living entity as Paramatma? So there the theory of reflection can be applied. Srila Prabhupada is explaining. Okay. The theory of reflection can be applied to the super soul who is present in each and every individual body and is known as Paramatma. He is different from the individual living entity. When the sky is reflected in water, the reflections represent both the sun and the moon and the stars also. The stars can be compared to the living entities and the sun or the moon to the Supreme Lord. The individual fragmental spirit soul is represented by Arjun, and the Supreme Soul is the personality of Godhead Krishna. So I'll just quickly tell you what is this theory of reflection. So you see there is only one moon in the sky, and if you have 10 pots of water in the night, the moon will be reflected in 10 pots. You will see 10 moons. 10 pots will show 10 moons. Does it mean there are 10 moons? Every pot has one moon, but actually there's only one moon. The moon is in the sky, but the reflection is there in 10. So it's not exactly like that, because Ata Sri Krishna Namadi na bhavet grahyam indriyai. With these material senses and mind and intelligence, we cannot completely understand the Supreme. But as far as it is possible, right, by giving some material examples, uh, the Shastras try to explain to us. So you can get some hint, some idea. Just like the reflection of the moon you see in 10 pots and you see 10 moons in 10 pots. Something like that. There's only one Supreme Lord, but like that reflection. Now you may not say, so only the reflection is in the heart, the Lord is not actually there. He's actually there. He's actually there in the heart also as Paramatma. But it is like that reflection. There's only one Lord, but He's there in every heart. Just like there's only one moon, but the reflection of the moon is seen in every pot. They are not on the same. Okay, and another point is, then what is the difference between the individual soul and the Supreme Lord? Just like in the sky, you have one moon and you have so many stars. Moon is moon, stars are stars. You cannot equate the two. Like that, that moon is like the Supreme Lord, and all the stars are like the living entities. They are also luminous, they also have light. The star, the moon also has, but still, the light of the moon is very powerful. So the Supreme Lord is like the moon, and all the living entities who are also spirit souls, but they're tiny spirit souls, like the stars. They're not on the same level, as it will be apparent in the beginning of the 4th chapter. If Arjun is on the same level with Krishna, and Krishna is not superior to Arjun, then the relationship of instructor and instructed becomes meaningless. We discussed that yesterday. If both of them are deluded by the illusory energy Maya, right? Krishna is also deluded by Maya, Arjun is also deluded Maya. If it is like that, then there is no need of one being instructor and the other instructed. Such instruction would be useless, because in the clutches of Maya, no one can be authoritative instructor. No one can be an authoritative instructor if he is under the clutches of Maya. Under the circumstances, it is admitted that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Lord, superior in position to the living entity Arjun, who is a forgetful soul deluded by Maya. So this last paragraph is actually, again, like the previous verse, is teaching us how to refute the Mayavad philosophy in this verse. So now last, I'll read one paragraph of Srila Prabhupada's Leelamrita and we'll wind up. Srila Prabhupada's Leelamrita, continuation. So Srila Prabhupada, right, didn't have a home now. How difficult it was becoming to preach in America amid these crazy people. He had written prophetically in his poem the day he had arrived in Boston Harbor, "My dear Lord, I do not know why you have brought me here. Now you can do with me whatever you like. But I guess you have some business here. Otherwise, why would you bring me to this terrible place?" What about his scheduled classes, right? Now he's out of that Bowery. He left the loft in the Bowery. So, and he had started, he wanted to start a temple there, right there in the Bowery, actually in that loft. And now all of a sudden, he has no place. What about his scheduled classes? What about David? Should he go back and try to talk with the boy? This had been David's first fit of violence, but there had been other tense moments. David had a habit of leaving the soap on the floor of the shower stall, and Prabhupada had asked him not to because it was a hazard, but David wouldn't listen. Prabhupada had continued to remind him, and one day David had gotten angry and shouted at him. But there was no real enmity. Even today's incident had not been a matter of personal differences. The boy was a victim. I'll read one more. Prabhupada walked quickly. He had free passage on the Scindia line. He could go home to Vrindavan, but his spiritual master had ordered him to come here, America. By the strong desire of Sri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he had written while crossing the Atlantic, "The holy name of Lord Gauranga will spread throughout all the countries of the Western world." Before nightfall, he would have to find some place to stay, a way to keep up the momentum of his preaching. This is what it meant to be working without government sponsorship, without the support of any religious organization, without a patron. It meant being vulnerable and insecure. Prabhupada faced the crisis as a test from Krishna. The instruction of Bhagavad Gita was to depend on Krishna for protection. In all activities, just depend upon me and work always under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. You will pass over all the obstacles of conditional life by my grace. He decided to phone Carl Jurgens and ask him to help. Hearing the Swami's voice on the phone, it was an emergency. Carl at once agreed that Prabhupada could move in with him and his wife Eva. Their place was close by, on Center Street, 5 blocks west of Bowery, near Chinatown. Carl would be right home. So at least Prabhupada got some place where he could stay for the time being. We'll stop there. Thank you all, dear devotees. Hare Krishna. All of you have a wonderful day in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.